Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
No. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randy Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
It's Friday, you bastards. Everybody! Woo! Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Today they deregulated the banks. And they told your stockbroker that he no longer has to act in your best interest. You're going to love the new America. Just like the old one, except much, much worse. Yeah, I mean, this is like it's an amazing thing. Oh, by the way, I must tell you that if you watch the raid in Yemen, did you see that video of the special forces raid in Yemen? Turns out it was 10 years old. All right. Way to go. Fake freaking raids now? This is what we're doing? Fake raids. And also fake massacres. I can't believe this. I mean, this is the quietest I ever heard, Chris Matthews. I've never heard him, they're so, because Kellyanne Conway, she cut off CNN. Oh, what a loss. She said she wasn't going to send any White House surrogates over to CNN anymore. And CNN is just, they're crushed is what it is. They're just beside themselves. Anyway, so they just take the video from other outlets to show he's lying. So the Yemen video that they released, that the Defense Department released, I apologize to all my fellow veterans. This is really disgusting that you have a commander-in-chief that does this to you. Thank God I'm retired, because this would be a civil war inside the military, if I still had to, serve. But I'm done. So, good luck to you. Godspeed and all that. But they released a video of this Yemen raid just to show how well it went, even though the president, this is like his first military raid. It's his first one. So, of course, Bannon probably put it together, hence the chaotic nature of it. Yeah, not enough intel, no military support, no backup plan. They had to blow up an Osprey. Okay, it was just a disaster. Civilians were killed. 3 of our Navy SEALs were wounded. 1, as you know, passed away. He didn't pass away. He was killed. He was murdered. So, all right. So we have all that. Now we have a new massacre. Homeside. We have this new massacre that, I don't know, for somebody like me that reads all the papers, all the time. Get the papers. Turnbull is a good man. Yeah, I mean, I'd never heard of the what did she call it? The Bowling Green Massacre? Anybody? Bowling Green Massacre? What is that? When somebody starts telling Ohioan jokes and you lose? I don't know what the Bowling Green Massacre was supposed to be. I'm not sure. We just missed it. But Kellyanne Conway, she said that the Muslim ban was copied from Obama's Muslim ban after the Bowling Green Massacre.
Yeah. It's the 7 countries that were previously identified by President Obama as being high risk, as being states that either harbor, train, or export terrorism. These are nations very narrowly prescribed and also temporary.
Sure.
I bet there was very little coverage. I bet it's brand new information to people that President Obama had a 6-month ban on the Iraqi refugee program after 2 Iraqis came here to this country, were radicalized, and they were the masterminds behind the Bowling Green Massacre. Most people don't know that because it didn't get covered.
Let's talk about...
It didn't get covered because it didn't happen, Kellyanne. What freaking alternate universe are these people operating in? There is no such thing as a Bowling Green Massacre. And no, Obama never did a Muslim ban from Iraq or any other country. There was no ban from Syria, refugees. We agreed to take 10,000 Syrian refugees. Meanwhile, Europe has absorbed millions of Syrian refugees. Anyway, we never said we wouldn't take people from Iraq, for God's sake. You know, I mean, it's Iran, Yemen, Somalia, Sudan, Libya. We have students going to law school here from Libya. One guy is trying to get back to Howard's alma mater, George Mason. He's a student there. That's where Howard went to law school. This guy is trying to get back to his classes, and he can't get back. Turns out, we find out, there is no Bowling Green massacre, and there was no Muslim ban. There was no ban from Iraq. There was what she's exploding into fake news is the fact that there were Iraqis that entered the United States as refugees. And then subsequently, we found out that one of those guys that was admitted was a bomb maker in Iraq. The FBI actually matched his fingerprints to an unexploded IED discovered in Iraq in 2005. Not here. Not here, you little Twitler wannabe. What is with all the disinformation, the disorientation of the American people? Why would you want an uneducated, ill-informed, absolutely paranoid bunch of people, who only know how to call people who tell the truth the C word or the B word? I mean, really, what is the goal here? To rip us to shreds, to tear us apart so that you can, do a full-blown war like in the South China Sea, perhaps? Maybe you want to bomb Iran. I mean, who the hell knows? And you know why he wants a war. He wants a war not to keep us safe, because this Muslim ban has pissed off 1 billion people in the world. He wants a war so he could have the powers of a wartime president where just about anything goes, including warrantlessly wiretapping you. This is so ridiculous. There was no Bowling Green massacre. I don't know what she's talking about. But, the other part of this interview that didn't get covered, which, always surprises me, is how she insists that civil servants within the government, we have like millions and millions of civil servants in the government. You know that, right? That they must agree with the president now. Only one man's opinion must be agreed with by everybody across the government, or they can get out. She said, we were very nice to them. We told them, we gave them a chance. We said either agree with him or get out. I've never heard Chris Matthews without words. Have you? I never have.
Because it's really a civics lesson here. The acting attorney general, Yates, refused to honor the president's executive order on those 7 countries and those people coming here. She's gone. The spokesman for the president the other day made it pretty clear that those State Department officials, the career people over there, 900 of them apparently that signed that petition, should basically get out of there if they're not happy with the way things are going. They should get out of there.
He gave a choice. He said they can step up or get out.
He gave them a choice. He said either step up or get out. That's illegal. You understand that. You don't pledge allegiance to a man. You swear an oath to uphold the Constitution. It has nothing to do with a man. These are people who have served in our government their whole lives. I mean, this is just crazy. This is, I swear to God, she tells us the media failed to cover the Bowling Green massacre. Yes, just like they failed to cover the St. Louis tsunami and the Manhattan volcano, Kellyanne. It didn't happen. The great Atlanta mayonnaise spill. Oh, that was terrible. Does anybody remember? No, because none of those things ever happen. And she is not allowed to give civil servants a choice to either swear an oath to the president or leave. That is authoritarian fascism. That is seriously scary. That is a violation of their free speech and their political autonomy. I mean, it's just this was amazing. And look at her freaking mug there. Just knowing that, what she's saying is just so absolutely anti-American. That's amazing to me. And with all these lies and all of this demanding of loyalty across government, we do have a dissent channel in the State Department, 900 career Foreign Service officers. It's almost 1,000. I think it's over 1,000 now. I didn't check it today, but yesterday it was very close to 1,000 Foreign Service officers. The ones that the Benghazi lovers love to protect so much. They love them. Well, those were the people that signed the dissent and said, no, we don't agree with the Muslim ban. It's going to make us less safe. You are really inhibiting our ability to work in our field. and getting people to share intelligence with us. This whole thing is just a mess. And then today, just so you know, or last night, I tweeted it out. Last night, they appointed a new deputy CIA director. This woman was in charge of our black sites. She actually ran a torture chamber in Thailand, where we now know that we waterboarded Abu Zubaydah 83 times before our intelligence community said he's never going to talk. She was in charge of waterboarding him 83 times in 1 month and smashing his head into a wall over and over and over again, and then finally decided, he's got no information. This guy really doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. All right. Hey, welcome to the CIA. You're the new deputy director. Really? Torture's illegal in this country. It is. So how did this happen? How the hell did this happen? They don't want to talk about that. But we have gone from alternative facts to alternative leaders to alternative disasters to can you imagine what would happen on a 9/11? If God forbid we had a 9/11 type incident here. I mean, maybe we would find out, when Kellyanne, makes one up for us. Maybe then we'll find out, what really goes on. I mean, I just, most people know that this thing didn't get covered because this thing doesn't exist. Most people know Obama never banned one single What they did do was they revamped the vetting process for Iraqi refugees, and they slowed down the visa approvals, but they never revoked visas. How do they make this up and get away with it? And so many people are so ill-informed that they think that people who, read the newspaper or journalists that go out and get the story and find out that the Yemen video was 10 years old, there was no there was no Kentucky massacre. There was no Kentucky massacre, that his first military operation was a complete and utter disaster. It was a failure. The Muslim ban is a failure. Today, oh my God, the lawyers went to court today to ask for a stay through this weekend, too, of, not enforcing this ban. All the federal judges that heard the cases this morning all concluded that this order is likely going to prevail as being unconstitutional, and therefore they're granting the stay to not allow this to move forward. Meanwhile, the evidence that was presented in court said that anywhere from 60,000 to 100,000 people legally holding visas, which means they've been vetted to come into this country, have been prohibited from coming into this country. 60 to 100,000 people. I mean, the reunions at the airport are amazing. Amazing.
To speak to Randi, call now, you bastards. 561-270-3844.
Hello.
Randi Rhodes, Air Force.
Now that Trump's on his way to the White House, how long do you think it's going to take him and his Wall Street cronies to completely wreck our economy? This Trump administration is greedy, full of avarice, and awful, and the damage they're going to do to the economy will become legend. They are going to make the financial crisis of 2008 look like a pool party. And once again, working class Americans, you're going to get soaked. And that's why now more than ever, it's time to diversify your investment portfolio. Gold's low correlation with stocks and bonds can help you in times of uncertainty. Just call my friends at ITM Trading today, get a free gold kit, and learn why gold survives every government, every currency, and every economic crisis. Call ITM Trading at 1-888-OWN-GOLD for guidance from their precious metals experts. They've helped tens of thousands of people navigate this market, and they have the best reputation in this industry. So call 1-888-OWN-GOLD, 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1908. That was the day the U.S. Supreme Court ruled on the Lowe versus Lawler case, also known as the Danbury Hatters case. In 1902, the United Hatters of North America attempted to organize the fur hat company, D.E. Lowe & Company. Lowe refused to meet with the union. The union struck and called for a nationwide boycott of Lowe hats. The AFL assisted in popularizing the boycott. They worked to convince retailers and customers not to buy from Lowe. The company sued the union's business agent and hundreds of its members. Lowe claimed the union violated the Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890 by interfering with interstate commerce. The Sherman Act had been designed to control big business monopolies, trusts, and cartels like the Standard Oil Company. An 1893 case, United States versus Workingmen's Amalgamated Council of New Orleans, established that the Sherman Act applied to labor unions as well. In the Danbury Hatters case, the Supreme Court ruled that the union combined to restrain trade or commerce among several states. The union countered by arguing that the union did not interfere with the transportation of hats and were not themselves engaged in interstate commerce. But the union lost. In addition to violating the Sherman Act, the court argued that individual union members could be held personally liable for damages incurred by their unions. The union was eventually held liable in damages amounting to $235,000. The AFL pushed back, demanding reforms in the Sherman Act. Partial reforms came with the Clayton Antitrust Act of 1914, but it would be another 20 years before the Norris-LaGuardia Act would exempt organized labor from antitrust injunctions.
Labor History in 2 brought to you by the Illinois Labor History Society and The Rick Smith Show.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
Right now, we have a false 5.4, 5.3, 5.6. Every month is different. It is such a phony number.
That number, 5.2%, is such a phony number.
So the number is a totally phony number. It's probably 18, 19, maybe even 20%.
We probably have a 19 to 21% unemployment. If you look at the real job numbers, you probably have an employment of 20%, could even be 21, 22%.
Could be as high as 25%.
We probably have a 25% unemployment number.
We probably have 25% unemployment.
Probably it's 25%.
25%.
25%.
The number's 25% and probably higher than that.
It could be 25 or 30%.
The number's probably 28, 29.
The real number's probably 25%, probably 30 or 35%.
It's probably close to 30%. It's not 5.3%. It's in the 20s, 30s. It could even be in the 40s.
I actually saw a number of 42% unemployment. 42%?
Somebody actually read the other day, they said it's actually 42%.
I even heard recently 42%.
Could be 42%.
You think the unemployment rate is 25%?
Oh, yeah.
I've not seen that anyplace else. I've not seen...
Actually, I've even seen some higher than that. But let's go with... I've seen actually some higher than that.
He's such a con man. You people are such suckers. Oh my God. Not the people that understand that I am reading newspaper articles and showing you real videos, but the people who post on my Facebook page. You people are being played for such suckers. It kind of makes me... I almost feel bad for you. Almost. But you absolutely are vile. You are evil and ugly and nasty. And you really need to go back to watching Batman Rises and leave it at that. He is not Bane, okay? He's Donald Trump, a con artist with ties to Russia. Big time. The man is threatening every ally we have in this world. Why is he threatening Europe? Did you see Der Spiegel today, the German newspaper? They have a photo, they have a drawing of Donald Trump holding a sword and cutting off Lady Liberty's head and saying, and underneath it says, America first. Yeah, and that's what's happening here. How ridiculous can you get with this guy? It's unbelievable. I can't even believe what's going on here. It's such bull crap. Everything that he's done so far has been just pure bull crap and chaotic and just like he threatened Mexico with a wall and then they'd get a bill to pay for it. Then he calls them back up and says, you better get your drug war under control with sending the feds. Doesn't that mean he's threatening to invade freaking Mexico? Or does he not know that the feds work with Mexico? I don't know which it is, but he's such a freaking con man. It's unbelievable. Then he threatens Australia. What is he threatening Australia for? Says he's going to send the feds into Chicago too, although the feds work with with local law enforcement in Chicago. I mean, he says Angela Merkel in Germany is the same in his mind as Putin. It's the same. This is a democracy in Germany, one of the most liberal democracies in the world. And Putin is an oligarch autocrat, a dictator. There's no freedom of speech in Russia. Holy crap. I mean, you got this psycho Milo that people protest because, have you ever seen him? Oh my God, he's nuts. He's a nutbag. He's absolutely insane. Oh, here, I'll play a little for you. This man is just off his rocker. But what he doesn't realize is that, Donald Trump's best friend, Vlad the Impaler over there in Russia, and his, campaign manager, Paul Manafort, who worked for the Ukrainian government without ever registering as a foreign lobbyist, which is illegal. Do you know what they do to gay people there? Do you have any freaking earthly idea? You can't be gay in Russia. You can't be gay. This man is just insane. But
let's talk about gays instead.
Yes,
in 12 Islamic countries, I could be killed for my sexuality. Is that okay? 100 million people.
What is this outfit?
Live in countries where it is illegal to be homosexual. All of those countries are Islamic. This is not an ISIS thing. You will see gays being thrown off the roof in ISIS-controlled territories. But this has nothing to do with terrorism. This is mainstream Muslim culture.
No, this is mainstream authoritarian culture. And if you want this nation to become a white nationalist religious Christian nation, you're going to get the same result. Christianity does not exactly welcome you, Milo. Go back to Europe. Go. I love how all these privileged people who have grown up under the absolute, a safety net of civil liberties in this country. I mean, he's how old is this kid? Like 20-something years old. His entire life, he has been protected by, civil liberties. Nobody can throw him off a building. You know what I mean? And he's over here bitching and supporting some sort of a right wing Christian authoritarian gulag where you can wiretap warrantlessly ordinary Americans and keep track of their social media habits it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And by the way, Robert Reich, who teaches at Berkeley, said for sure that those anarchists that were at that Berkeley protest were not Berkeley students. They're outside agitators, and it better freaking stop. You people cut the crap. Cut the crap. Or just admit out loud that you're being paid by the uber right wing to do this, or that you just don't know any better and just leave it to us, okay? It's so unbelievable. So now, all of a sudden this morning, wake up, we got sanctions on Iran, which are illegal under the Iranian nuclear agreement. Remember, we took the sanctions off. So he says he's only sanctioning some individuals. And then, of course, he takes the sanctions off Russia, who invaded Ukraine and Georgia. But only on certain individuals, like the oil and gas individuals. Black History Month this particular year, the February 2nd get together. He actually talked about Frederick Douglass as if he was living in Compton or something and doing really great things in his neighborhood. I mean, it's just an amazing presidency. And then again this morning he deregulated the banks and brokers, so brokers no longer have to trade on your behalf in your best interest. They could take commissions from mutual funds, throw you in their mutual fund and get a commission, even though those funds might be available elsewhere where they couldn't collect a commission at a lower cost to you. It's great. It's just great. And then we find out the Yemen raid video that they're, touting as, this great success, this Yemen raid. It was such a great success. It's 10 years old. It's a 10-year-old video that's been online for 10 years. And this is what he's showing the United States, the people. As being, the Yemen raid, which, caused the death of a Navy SEAL. Really? How many lies does it take before you stop being a sucker? You should just call them sucks, because they do. Reggie in Decatur.
Happy Friday to you. You're still Randy Rhodes, and to your husband / call screener to Howard.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. I think I know exactly where Trump's number one stooge, Kelly Conway, gets her alternative facts from. Either it's the mainstream news media, which I like to refer to them as, or hate talk radio, such as Fat Boy, Rush Limbaugh, and his, shall we say, cohort, his followers.
No, she gets it from Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, Breitbart, and Milo, that guy Milo I just played you. He is the senior editor at Breitbart. So the idea that they're not all they don't talk to you, that's ridiculous. It's all fake news, and it's fake news now coming from a government podium where we pay their salaries. And we pay for that podium, and it's coming out of our White House where we pay, for them to live. That, I'm sorry, it's so un-American that it couldn't, I think he's impeachable right freaking now.
Mm-hmm. But how do we fight
You're
back
not
against
allowed,
that?
listen, let me tell you something. You're not allowed to propagandize within the United States. It's not something that that is legal. And so,
Right.
I understand Congress is all Republicans and they are, trying to ride him like a bull into their, glorious reelection in a year and a half. But this is bull crap. This is so anti-constitutional. This is so violative of the American people's right to know. This is, making people, disoriented and shocking them and awing them with all the this fake news. It's a bizarre presidency. No one's ever seen anything like that. The conservative writers are writing, this man is dangerous. The whole world is trying to say something. The whole world is screaming, this man is dangerous.
Mm-hmm. But why aren't people listening? I'm talking about conservative radio and TV talk shows. Why aren't they listening? And taking a hint.
Because it's easier to believe the bad stuff. That's why.
Mm-hmm. And they don't want it. They don't care. They just want to ignore it.
Right. They don't care. You're right. And they're just ill-equipped. They can't they can't let go of their devotion to an authoritarian. They're kind of suffering from Stockholm syndrome, best I can tell, where they've learned to fall in love with their captor, and then there is a portion of them that also believe that we should be a white nationalist, uber Christian nation without civil liberties, without dissent, without, freedom of speech, without, courts that actually, interpret the law. There are people in this country that just want to burn it down. They're just so miserable. They're so unhappy with their lot in life. They can't figure out how to change things for their own families, for their own, their own well-being. They don't know, or they don't want to take, the steps that would be necessary to find, the kind of life that they, have in their little fantastical, heads. And so and so instead, they say then everybody, we should just burn down the entire country and see what pops up in its place. But, you create a vacuum in this country. And I'll tell you, what we have right now is a government by the minority over the majority. That's apartheid. OK, that's exactly what apartheid is. And we have that here because the minority bought our government.
Mm-hmm. But now, and this man is very dangerous, too, and for this country and its citizens, let alone the whole entire world. And first you have the conservative Republicans that turning against him. Now they're for him. They're like his sycophants. Now they're for him.
Okay. Lavetta in Long Beach, California.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I have a couple of things. First of all, the comment that he had made yesterday about sending in the bids to Chicago.
I told you.
Going to Chicago.
I told you they missed the story. That was the story, sitting down with those pastors, Amaurosis friends, to show to show the people who have never met an African American in their life that, Donald Trump isn't a racist, right?
No, but what he did was really revealed. First of all, Daryl Scott this morning had to walk back all of his comments as, he didn't talk to those guys. First of all, I'm from the ghetto. I'm from Compton. And you don't call a gangbanger a thug gangbanger. Second of all, a thug gangbanger is not going to go and seek out a pastor. The pastor is going to have to seek him out. And if Donald Trump and Daryl Scott go there, them gangbangers will be like in the Bible, in the New Testament, where the sorcerers came and was trying to cast out demons like Paul, and the demon said, "Paul, I know, but who are you?" And then they attacked the sorcerers. That's what they would be doing to Donald Trump. And second of all, every time him, Kellyanne, and his Spicer guy, people,
the president held a photo op.
Open their mouths. They're lying. They're lying. They're not alternative facts. Chris couldn't say nothing yesterday because he couldn't believe what she was saying.
I never saw him speechless before, but I've also never seen anybody just make news up and just spew it like that. But I will tell you that they are scared. NBC is scared because they've got this big merger. I don't know if you realize this, but Time Warner, CNN also, there's a big business behind this, and they're scared. They're scared to confront.
But see, we need to start doing them like we've been doing Nordstrom's and Uber down here this morning. See, people been boycotting Nordstrom's and Uber. So now Uber done pulled out of whatever this meeting they were supposed to have down there with him today, and Nordstrom has started pulling Ivanka stuff off the shelves again.
Right.
So that's what we're going to have to start doing, boycotting them. Mm-hmm. Boycott the churches. Don't pay your tithes and your offerings.
No, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Well, I get it.
They only understand money.
Well, this is. I don't know if you know this, but yesterday they're floating around this another executive order where they're saying that churches can now be political. And which means that a church can now, not only proselytize, for your soul, but they can also proselytize for your vote. And that means that churches like mega churches and those big evangelical, not the AME church over here and the Church of Christ over there. No, we're talking about, these mega churches can now donate money, big, huge money into the political arena and still be tax exempt. This is dangerous. This is why we have a separation of church and state. And he's just destroying our Constitution piece by piece by piece. The signs when you see him saying that all the civil servants, everybody that works in a government position, no matter what it is, all have to agree with the leader. What is that? Okay, and now he says that churches are now free to proselytize their people who are going there for their own souls, for their own peace of mind, for their own how to cope and deal with the life that they're living, or praying for somebody else. Now all of a sudden you're gonna be treated to some political diatribe, and then the money from the mega churches goes right into the political coffers of the right wing. This is crazy, and this is how the minority is ruling over the majority. This man only got 26% of all Americans. He only got 26% of their vote.
But, Randy, he might, if he do that, like Maxine Waters said this morning, let him do that, because the black church then would also have the opportunity now to outmatch them. So it may work out.
I don't think so.
We're trying to keep hope alive.
I don't think so. I think
we're trying to keep hope alive.
I understand. I do. I get it. I really do. But no. You don't break down the separation of church and state.
I know.
You just don't
We're just
do
trying
it.
to keep hope alive.
I know. But listen. There is no way that African American churches can compete with mega churches. There's just no way. Okay. The numbers, the sheer numbers, and to allow for these crazy, TV preachers to start fundraising and sending it to Washington. Do you know what kind of legislation you would get? I mean, you would be chattel.
Awful.
You would be chattel in, I'd say, 3 years.
Well, it's awful. I mean, it's awful. They're trying to tread all over our rights.
And they are. It's exactly. And the people that are laying down and taking it and cloaking themselves in some fantastical idea that patriotism means loyalty to a man, not to the Constitution or your country, are bat crap crazy.
Well, They
And
ain't
that's
gonna
what
be satisfied until they led away to Russia with hands.
they're not going to be
chains on 'em.
satisfied until somebody comes for them. And that will happen too.
That's what I'm talking about. Russia and Putin and their chains, and then they'll be carting them all off. I'm going to Mexico.
Well, then learn Spanish. You don't have to, but they appreciate it. I mean, this is nuts. I'll show you the clip she's talking about, and I'll tell you the story of this pastor. I said to you, didn't I say this yesterday? That they missed the story because, of course, Donald Trump treated African American History Month as a chance to talk about himself and his fabulous election and his great ratings and how, Arnold Schwarzenegger sucks and blows, even though Donald Trump's the executive producer of that show. He was just promoting it, I hope you realize. But there was a pastor there that told him that he had spoken to the gang guys, and the gang guys said because they believe in Donald Trump, they would keep the body count down. Turned out that whole story, I knew there was something really rotten about that story. It turned out that pastor was freaking lying. He's not even from Chicago.
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randy Rhodes Show.
You're listening to WIN, Workers Independent News, a diversified media enterprises production. I'm Doug Cunningham. The National Labor Relations Board says 2 charter schools in New Orleans are not exempt from federal labor law. The NLRB says International High School of New Orleans and Lusher Charter School must begin bargaining with teachers and staff who voted to form unions. United Teachers of New Orleans President Jim Randalls.
I think it's a real victory for public education in New Orleans because it means that teachers and educators in the buildings can now really work with administrators and school boards at the approximately 70 schools that are chartered with about 40-some different school boards in New Orleans on making their schools the best possible.
The Association of Flight Attendants, CWA, this week asked for an exemption from Trump's entry ban executive order for flight crew. AFA-CWA President Sarah Nelson, in a letter to Homeland Security Secretary Kelly, said some of her members hold passports from countries affected by the ban and could run into trouble, despite having legal status to enter the U.S. working for the airlines. The letter also requests a meeting with Kelly to address operational issues at the airports created by the ban. The French union CGT is urging its members at Air France to resist Trump's immigrant ban by not working on U.S.-bound flights. CGT says that we invite all employees who are struck by these anti-humanist practices to refuse to treat U.S. flights under these conditions. The union says members are within their rights to refuse to work on U.S.-bound flights in protests over Trump's immigrant ban. CGT is urging Air France management to resist the Trump order in solidarity with CGT members. CGT says staff should let management know they don't want to work on the U.S. flights. CGT believes that by refusing to implement Trump's order on French territory, they can begin to make a change. Education International, representing more than 32 million education employees in 170 countries and territories, is condemning Trump's immigrant travel ban order. Education International says Trump's order defies important democratic values, is discriminatory, and violates international standards protecting the rights of immigrants and refugees. Appearing on an Education International webinar, AFT President Randi Weingarten said her union opposes not only the immigration ban, but the racist and xenophobic logic that underlies the havoc the administration has created in the lives of those affected and the damage the order has done to America's standing in the world and to U.S. national security.
Brought to you by the California Teachers Association, 325,000 educators who know quality public schools make a better California for all of us. Information on how California teachers are shaping a stronger future for our kids is online at cta.org. Workers Independent News is proud to be heard on The Union Edge, Labor's Talk Radio. Live nationwide weekdays noon to 3 p.m. at theunionedge.com.
You've been listening to WIN, Workers Independent News. For more information, visit laborradio.org.
The Randy Rhodes Show is brought to you by our partners at ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
The Randy Rhodes Show is live on RandyRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
Okay, so at Trump's Black History Month event, that was put together, with Apprentice winner Omarosa, who heads up Trump's African American outreach. She found, she's a minister too, and she found some pastors who were willing to come and sit down and just ooze all over Trump and say, I love you. Oh my God, I can't believe, wow, thank you God for this man. Thank you so much. This black on black thing is getting really violent because they prefer Trump over Obama. Wow, that's pretty serious. But at this event, a black pastor, his name's Reverend Daryl Scott. That's who, she was talking about. He claimed that that Chicago gang leaders reached out to Trump through him. Okay, this is the little clip, and I
was recently contacted by some of the top gang thugs in Chicago for a sit down. They reached out to me because they associated me with you. They respect you. They believe in what you're doing, and they want to have a sit down about lowering that body count. So in a couple of weeks, I'm going in Chicago.
I think it's a great idea because Chicago is totally out of control.
Well, I let them know. I said we got to lower that body count. We don't want to talk about anything else. Get that body count down. And they agreed that the principals, they can do it. These are guys straight from the streets, no politicians, straight street guys. But they're going to commit that if they lower their body count, we'll come in and we'll do some social programs. So they're in agreement.
If they're not going to solve the problem, and what you're doing is the right thing, then we're going to solve the problem for them because we're going to have to do something about Chicago.
Did you notice the Reverend Daryl Scott's hand as he said they're going to lower the body count, and his hand goes like right into a handgun posture? Yeah. Well, it turns out that Reverend Daryl Scott, when he said they reached out to me because they associated me with you, they respect you, they believe in what you're doing, they're going to get the body count down for you, sir, but you're going to give them some social programs, right? They're going to get the body... Yes, because black Chicago gang leaders support Steve Mnuchin for Treasury Secretary. That's why. Turns out that this Reverend Daryl Scott, he's not from Chicago. He's from Cleveland, for God's sake. No one reached out to him. And we know this because a reporter asked him, quote, "So there are no gang leaders offering to reduce the body count in exchange for federal funds?" He said, this is the pastor, "No, I mean, come on now." And he laughed. Now, how bad is your lying if you're laughing at how absurd your lie was? I will say at least he has a sense of humor, and for a Trump supporter, that's hard to come by. That really is. But Reverend Scott said these Chicago gang leaders want to work with this administration. They're going to get the body count down. And Donald Trump's like, whatever. You do what you do. I'm sending in the feds is what I'm doing. And I told you that was the story from this. And everybody picked up on he didn't know who Frederick Douglass was. Of course he doesn't know who Frederick Douglass is. This man never read a book in his life. Except he never even, the books that he's got his name on, someone else wrote. And the guy who wrote those books talks to the entire media and says, this guy is a con man. I'm telling you, I've known him. I wrote The Art of the Deal. I sat there with, he doesn't know, crap from Shinola. He's a con man. Be very afraid of this guy. He's got all this power. This is insane. But Daryl Scott told reporters, quote, just like Kellyanne today, just like the Department of Defense today, they all misspoke. They all got, the Yemen video. Yeah, that was a mistake. That was 10 years old. The Kentucky massacre. I misspoke. And now the right reverend says I misspoke. Check this out. Here's his excuse. He said, "I only had 3 hours of sleep at the time. I meant to say former street thugs." Yeah, I know if I only sleep 3 hours, the entire fabric of reality goes right out the window. Oh, please, let's pray for Daryl Scott, Daryl Scott, that he doesn't have a sleepless night. He'll have a full-on psychotic episode. Oh, my God. 3 hours sleep made him lie like that to the president of the United States. It's unbelievable. So he admitted he only spoke to one former gang member, no gang leaders. And he said he misspoke. An actual Chicago pastor named Michael Flager was the person who pointed out that Scott was not truthful. He said he's not from Chicago. This didn't happen. He said, I guess this is the first thing that he's been to. But who is he? That's what he said. Who is this guy? He's Omarosa's friend, Trump's African American. That's who he is, Pastor Flager. This was a political puppet show, a theater show. This was like a high school play put on for rural hayseeds who voted for Trump, who live in a fantasy world about the inner cities being a war zone and don't want to believe that their president is a racist. Poorly done, just like every other thing they've done. Poorly done, really shabby, everybody. What's day 3 in African History Month, African American History Month for Donald Trump? Really going to have some sort of a meeting, their hair. When can we touch it? I mean, he has no clue. This is such a con. This is such bogus stuff. What did he do? Have a party, a cocktail party after this meeting? A little thank you for the black people who didn't vote in last year's election? Oh, thank you so much. I cannot believe nothing that happened this week on the part of the Trump administration was meaningful, important, or true. Nothing. Everything was a play. Everything was a puppet show. Everything was theater. Everything was garbage. Everything was chaotic, and everything was cruel. Everything. I mean, you got to see. Look, let me show you this before we go to the top of the hour. Well, that's something I got to show you too. But this. Look at this. This is amazing. These are the people who were prohibited from entering our country, and finally the stay was put in place so they can't enforce the executive order, and people are allowed with visas. They're allowed to land here. Look at this. Look at these reunions. Yeah, there's 2 terrorists right there. Don't they look terrorizing? Don't they look scary? Aren't they scary? Yes, we can spell USA too. And of course, there's always the Trump supporter cop. You need to move now. They just had a beautiful family reunion. You know, if this was like 1950, 1960, 1970, even 1980, the cops would have been applauding. Do you know? That's so beautiful. Candid camera would have been there. They would have said, look at this fabulous. Do you know what I mean? No, now it's, you need to move out of here. Just get out of my way. Oh, you need to move
now. They are Iranians. They have green card. They have jobs. They are scientists at Johns Hopkins University.
Oh my God.
So it's 3.5 hours now.
When we were in the plane from Istanbul to here, then we checked on internet and we realized that it's also going to involve green card holders. They were calling all the names, so by the time we got, they called like 10 or 12 of us. I think after us, they were calling more. Before getting to here, yes. After I got here and talked to friends, a little less scared.
Were you scared? Yes, until I got here. The land of the free, the home of the brave. Oh my God, they were scientists at Johns Hopkins. Oh my God. Danger. Danger, Will Robinson. Iranian terror. Oh, they're scientists. They are building a bomb at Johns Hopkins. And curing cancer. It's insanity what's going on. It makes no sense to anybody of right mind. I swear to God, it can't get any more bizarre. The only thing more bizarre would be like if they had African American History Month, Day 4, and the Blacks of Fox teach you how to be one of the good ones. Do you know what I'm saying? What? What did I say? Is that bad? They should have some sort of seminar. Cracker, surviving the most hateful epithet of all.
Clear for takeoff. The Randy Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandyRhodes.com.
Happy Valentine's Day. What are you going to get her? What are you going to get her? You want to give her something really, really different, something really big protein, big flavor, big packs, little carbs. Herky jerky, baby. I love herky jerky, and I don't know anybody who's watching their carbs that doesn't love herky jerky. It is the most delicious, favorite jerky that I've ever had. And you can't get the best stuff just anywhere. Herky jerky is beef, elk, venison, bacon, slabs, and sticks. The most amazing thing you've ever had. And now, $5 off any purchase of $30 or more with promo code Valentine. Just for Valentine's Day. The bacon, it's a slab. You can put it on BLTs, use it in salads, munch right out of the bag. I've shopped for jerky everywhere, and I have to tell you, if you give her herky jerky by going to herkyjerky.com and taking $5 off your $30 or more purchase, she will say, oh my God, that's what Randy loves. herkyjerky.com, promo code Valentine.
Now, the top of the hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn presents It Sucks to Be Right with comedian Tara Devlin from RepublicanDirtyTricks.com and comedian Sherry D. Sutton.
I am coming all the way from Switzerland, where I thought we'd talk a little bit about what it's like living there.
What's it like in civilization?
Well, civilization has some rules. And Switzerland is very rule-oriented, and that really doesn't sound appealing to Americans, I think. So when I first arrived to Switzerland, part of the first thing I had to do was get health care. Mm-hmm. I had 90 days to get health care, or the penalty, and I can't remember what it was, but it was so astronomical that you wouldn't consider not getting health care.
Right.
So unlike here, where people opt out and just go, well, I'll just pay the penalty tax time, you don't opt out of that. You get it, you have it, and it's affordable. I think what Obamacare originally had in mind, or what it should have been, is a system that if everybody was in, the prices would be capped, essentially.
Yeah, well,
your coverage.
That's the whole philosophy behind it. And as we know, it doesn't matter that it was the Republican health care plan that gave for-profit health insurance rackets, because that's what they are. They're just a racket that stands between you and your doctor, denying care and getting rich from it. Mm-hmm. Republicans have done everything they can to undermine and make sure that it doesn't work properly, because they'd rather see Americans live in a world of stress and anxiety, wondering and hoping that they don't get sick, that they have sabotaged their own law.
The fact that I actually have health care that is affordable tells you something about the health care going on here, because I do live in a country where money is hugely important to the Swiss. But what is more important to the Swiss, I believe, is quality of life, whether that's health care, family time, shops that close at 6 and 7 p.m., access to vacation time, 2-hour lunch times. I mean, they really...
My God.
Yeah, an hour lunch is rushing. So I think with healthcare, with the way that you live there, everything is around everybody having a quality of life. Mm-hmm. And that sense that everybody is entitled to a good life, a good way to provide for your family. Mm-hmm. The healthcare itself, like I've got major medical issues that would cost so much money here in pharmaceutical care.
Why don't you just die quickly?
Yeah, well, that's the message, isn't it? It's just like, why don't I go in this pool of people over here?
That's what gets me so aggravated. I know in Switzerland, if Obamacare functioned the way it's supposed to, it would look like the Swiss system.
That's my point. If it actually was Obamacare, the way the Swiss have it set up, which is everybody has to have it, companies pay a part, you pay a part, but they will not let insurance companies keep raising and raising your premiums every month. That's just not tolerable. You don't go from 1 year to go, you're paying $400 a month to now you're paying $700 or $800 a month or $1,200 a month. That would never happen over there. That cannot happen over there.
Right. Well, I think that there's this whole notion that people have in other countries that we are in this together. Here, I cannot stand this whole serfs and lords mentality where some people get to have health care, some people get to have education, some people get to have a decent life, and other people will just have to pray and maybe get their rewards in heaven. I don't know. We'll hope. We'll hope for that. But the only democratic value is everybody in, nobody out. And I think that that's what we should be shooting for. Why is it acceptable that millions of people still don't have health insurance? Why is it acceptable that, now Republicans are screaming about premiums going up, but they're doing everything they can to make sure that that's the case. They never screamed about premiums going up before Obamacare, because my premiums went up every year then too. So I don't know.
Or pre-existing conditions,
Yes.
or the fact that only some are entitled to insurance, and if you've got a sick kid, it's capped at a certain age, and then you're just stuck with the sick kid. I mean,
he should just die. He or she should just die quickly. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, what
are they doing?
This is why we're
dragging us all down by our bootstraps.
We have to forget Obamacare, forget what we have, because it's not going to work. What we need is universal health care. We need single payer.
That's right.
It's all in, and I hope.
Yeah, and it's just like
where Hillary needs to just go for it. She needs to stick it to him really hard.
Well, that's what my dream is, that Hillary is just going to be like, you know what? You screwed with me for 30 years. You didn't want me to have a victory with universal health care, but what you really did was, in the meantime, we've had 9/11 every single day because of people needlessly dying because they can't afford to see a doctor, because Republicans refused to allow Hillary Clinton to have a victory, making healthcare in the country a right of citizenship, not a privilege of wealth, just like it is in every other civilized country. So I hope that Hillary is like, F you. We're going to have universal health care.
Yeah, well, that's what she knows has to happen. She knows. There's no compromise here. It's all in.
That's it.
So this has been Sherry D. Sutton and Tara Devlin for It Sucks to Be Right. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and keep listening for more on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn.
And we stick together and we
get insurance.
Right.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randy Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Nationalism is a mean, vindictive, spiteful, nasty, man-hating philosophy.
The 32-year-old senior editor of Breitbart is a fervent Trump supporter whose harassing messages got him banned from Twitter.
After the site said he encouraged his followers to harass Ghostbusters star Leslie Jones.
And now he's on a mission to take on the liberal college establishment. And he's not the only one.
We're doing a little bit of poaching.
The white nationalist Nathan D'Amigo is here at Milo's event to recruit for his own cause.
America was founded for people of European heritage. It was not founded to be a multiracial, multicultural society.
Scenes like this are playing out across the country as speakers are spreading hateful rhetoric, saying this is their moment to take down the ivory tower.
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory!
Richard Spencer is taking his white nationalist vision on the road. He spoke at Texas A&M in December.
Color is in a way, minor aspect of race.
He plans to visit more schools.
Really?
A tour inspired, he says, by Milo.
Richard Spencer says that you inspire him, that you have made this school
dangerous. I don't think
dangerous.
he's ever said that. I've never heard him say that.
In some ways, this is inspired by Milo's events, which have caused stirs on campuses.
Why are you seeking to associate with these people?
They associate themselves with you.
By associating me with people who have odious and disgusting opinions, it suggests that I somehow, in some way, tacitly enable these people. I don't.
He doesn't enable racists. He's not a racist person, okay?
Your religion does it everywhere your religion exists. It is a threat, an existential threat to
There
gay
he is.
people.
That's a smattering. I've heard better applause at a golf tournament.
Everywhere in the world
What
there
is
is
with
Islam.
this
You will find women
outfit?
oppressed, homosexuals murdered. You will find gang rape. Now, there's a unique phenomenon that doesn't really exist outside of Islamic cultures of familial gang rape, where fathers, brothers, and cousins go out raping people together. It happened in Rotherham in the UK. And the liberal establishment in the UK didn't investigate this because, according to a government report, not a far right-wing blog, according to a government report, 1,400 young girls were raped in racially or religiously, as you choose to define it, motivated crimes.
Yes, and 1 out of 4 women in the military are raped. Did you know that, Milo? In the United States military, 1 out of 4. And 1 out of 4 women in the United States are raped. Did you know that, Milo? God, these people are just so... But what is with the outfit? What do you think that is? That's like a gromedy, sort of a very gay, almost Village People-y, updated for the 21st century, kind of a police vest outfit. What is that outfit? That's like, is that the new fashy cool? Is that what that is? These people have no earthly idea what they're talking about, but they love, love, love to divide people along color lines, ethnic lines, art, sexual orientation, religion, of course, is the big one. And that's why Donald Trump, when you look at these executive orders that are waiting in the wings, where it says in every walk of life, Christianity is, going to be enforced in every walk of life. What is different about that than an Islamic nation or Sharia law? Biblical law does not belong in our government, period. We are a nation of man-made laws. Natural laws are made by Mother Nature. Oh, and speaking of that, I got to say, our signs at our protests are so much better than their signs. Their signs are so completely bizarre and hateful, with the don't tread on me. It's always don't. Everything with them is don't. Don't tread on me. Don't come near me. Don't touch me. Don't talk to me. Blah, blah, blah. Burn it to the ground. We're disruptors. We hate America first. We blame America first. America sucks. America's been bad. But our signs, look at this wonderful sign here. Look at this little boy. Cute little boy. Looks almost Aryan. He could pass. His sign says, what do we want? Evidence-based science. When do we want it? After peer review. We're so much sharper than they are. This is a little boy. Little boy said, I love naps, but I stay woke. Here's one that says, a woman's place is in the resistance, with Carrie Fisher as Leia. Not usually a sign guy, but geez. Here's some more. These are good. I'm too worried to be funny. This is a kid who just used crayons and colored on a piece of cardboard, and his sign is more meaningful than anything I've ever seen at a right-wing protest. Just scribbled on it. Very cute. Locked up by U.S. Pres, 1942 to 1946, never again. And, of course, there's a Japanese American, old, in a, wheelchair, protesting. That's how important it is to her. This one's very... this almost makes me want to braid my armpits. Do you know what I mean? Because it's very granola, but it's cute. It says, protest is the new brunch. In front of the Trump Hotel. I mean, we're so much more creative. And I posted that in the homework section so that if you are going on the march to Mar-a-Lago this weekend, that, maybe you can get some inspiration from these signs, because I would love to see, signs like that show that we have wit and wisdom that is lacking elsewhere. That would be good. So, just thought I would give you some inspiration. We'll be out there. We'll record it. We'll Periscope it, whatever we have to do. Trump is coming, just for those of you who don't know, Trump is going to the Winter White House, which is what he's now called Mar-a-Lago, here in, Palm Beach, and it's just too close to my house not to go. And so people are going to make sure that, he only gets 3 hours rest, so he can have a full psychotic episode. All right, Mike in where is Whiskey Creek?
British Columbia.
Oh, okay.
I have a couple of little things. Happy Friday, by the way.
Thank you, you bastard.
Thank you. First, just what you were talking about, the sort of paying homage to the Tea Party. The name Indivisible, I'm not that keen on it. There's bull at the end. I think it should be like Unity Party or Santa Tea Party, just to pay homage to them.
I don't want to pay homage to them. They're a bunch of know-nothing racists. I don't want to have anything to do with them. I didn't even like the coffee party thing because it was too reminiscent of the racist bigots, and the don't tread on me people. It was too... I wanted we're the resistance, and I'm the voice of the resistance, and I like that, and we're going to stick with that.
Okay, how about sort of with the birther movement to use his exact same words, even a video of him, and substitute keywords like tax returns and birther, birth certificate. Because he said he'd show his tax returns if Obama showed his birth certificate, among other things. So just, substitute different words and just play it back, and use his own voice.
Yeah, I don't think they were very original. I don't think they were very smart. I don't think they were very, American in their protests. I just,
But they worked. And
they didn't work. They did not work. Russia, don't forget how this happened. Russia hacked into the emails of the Democratic and the Republican Party and released only the Democratic side, and exploited all kinds of contretemps within the Democratic Party, thereby dividing the Democratic Party. That's what worked. The Tea Party is a bunch of unhappy people who do nothing but vent and huff and puff and self-emulate. I don't want to be them. And if I have to become what I despise in order to right this country from this fascist path we're going down, then it really isn't worth it, is it?
No, you're just showing it to them in their face. But you're going to say, like, what the hell's going on with Russia instead of what the hell's going on with your email.
Okay, I get it. You have no original thought. That's fine. Laura in Pleasant Hill, California.
Yeah. Hey, Randy. Long time, first time.
Hi. How are you?
I'm okay. I got 2 words.
Good.
Diagnose first.
Yay.
21st century. Diagnosed first. Why are we waiting around? So my question for you, my dear, is what misstep does he have to implement, create, in order for impeachment proceedings to actually...
Well, it's not really him now, is it? It's Congress. The impeachment starts in the House, right? And so as long as the House is in Republican hands, like I said, they're just going to ride him like a bull. They're rodeo riders right now. They got a crazy bucking bull who they don't trust or know, who they think is about as smart as a bucking bull, and they're just riding him, trying to stay on for the next election to shore up their majority in the House. Personally, I think that people are going to, already 2 weeks in, people who didn't vote because the Russians were able to exploit divisions within the Democratic Party to a point where people were cursing, the members of their own party and, choosing up sides and protesting the vote and not, voting. And it worked. The Russians were very smart. They exploited the Democrats pretty freaking good because they're really fascist and they've been doing it a long time. So I think that after 2 weeks of this horrible, mess, this chaotic goo that is spewing out of the White House and all these lies that, are easily debunked, within minutes, I think the people will show up and vote in the midterms, and I think we'll get a Democratic majority out of it. And when we do, that's when he gets impeached. And he's already impeachable because he didn't divest himself. One of the things I think we all should watch for, though, with Gorsuch's confirmation hearings is, and I'm sure the Democrats will do it, I'm sure Sheldon Whitehouse is smart enough to ask, Al Franken's on Judiciary, why? I have no idea, but he's there. Ask him, what is the emoluments clause? What does it mean?
You won't be able to give a good definition.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that need to be asked of Gorsuch, right? Yeah. Yeah. Such as, what is the emoluments clause and what does it actually mean? And when is the president impeachable? What kind of a misdemeanor would he have to commit? Is propaganda legal within the borders of the United States? And what if it's generated by one's own government in a desire or in a hope of misleading the American people? You know, what's your take on that? Does free speech apply to hate speech? Does free speech apply, and what about the separation of church and state? Where do you fall on that, Mr. Gorsuch? Because you got a president who wants to allow churches to give political contributions and still maintain their tax-exempt status.
Got it. So you're saying we have to wait 2 years, essentially?
I think we do. I think it's going to be 2 years of absolute hell, lying, fact-checking, and sticking together like glue. And I'm talking about everybody, people that didn't vote and people that did. Yeah.
Well, I think they do know what they have now after 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think they do. It would be impossible not to know. This man is a complete disaster. Everything he touches falls apart. Everything. And he's all over the Constitution, and it's fraying. There are people out there that actually think that this refugee ban, that was actually a test for the American people to see.
Absolutely. He's testing the waters.
Everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of people have written to me and they are trying to convince me to say. So I'll do it this way. I'll tell you that this is what they say. They say that this was a trial balloon for fascism. They wanted to see if the American people were ripe for fascism, if they would, religiously block people from coming into this country, if they would go for it, if they would, create some sort of an environment that was hostile to anybody but Christians. Okay, and they think that this is what this was, and that that's what its purpose was.
Is this before or after they collapse the dollar?
We'll see. We'll see. Let's just pray we get to vote in the next election. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for all you do.
Oh, thanks, Laura. I appreciate it. Ron in Western Connecticut.
Hi, Randy. Love you.
Love you more.
I have one comment and two burning questions.
Oh, right.
Tom and Stephanie both seem to agree that this is a soft coup, and I wish that that all of the PV hosts and like Cenk and the TYT hosts would interact a little more regularly.
I do
too. That you already work so hard, but
no, it's fine. I mean, I've been on Stephanie's show. I can't even tell you the last time she ever came here, except to promote her movie. No, but I do. I think we should all, get together and pool our resources. I do, and I one of the things I hope that they, I'm very good friends with Stephanie. I love Stephanie. Tom, I'm not as close with Tom as I am with her, but and the Young Turks, I haven't been in the same room with Cenk since probably 2005. But we worked together, back in the day in New York, and I think the world of what he's done. I think he's incredible. But I got to tell you that if we could all get together on the F-17 on February 17 on the national strike, because that might really benefit all of us. I mean, Stephanie's out in California, Tom is in New York, I'm down in Florida. These are all good places to organize. I don't know where Cenk is based out of. Do you?
LA, I think.
Okay. So it would be great. It would be absolutely great. Let them, go to the, there's a Facebook page. There's a website for F-17 for the national strike. Let them, put that out to their listeners. Let them, just, retweet it. And I did last night. I Facebooked it. I tweeted it. It got repeated 17,000 times. I mean, this is good. This is a nice start. So, they ought to do it too.
Okay. Yes. Well, I would encourage all of them if I could call all of them all the time.
Well, all you need to do is go to anybody's website, and there's a contact button. Just click on the contact button and send them a quick email saying, "What could you get the word out about the February 17th national strike?"
Yeah,
that's a simple, easy one.
Will do.
Okay.
So my first burning question is: don't you think it's so weird that nobody has hacked Trump's taxes? That just strikes me as just being, with all of our technical know-how, nobody could hack him.
I don't know what the security at the IRS is like. I really have no idea.
Well, it just strikes me that everything else was hacked and leaked, and that his taxes should remain secret. Is just, I find that striking.
Well, perhaps Vlad has that information. Perhaps, Yeah, perhaps Julian Assange has that information. Maybe he's being blackmailed. Who the hell knows? I mean, we don't know what the Russians got. All we do know is that Russian intelligence guys who work on the cybersecurity side in the Russian government are suddenly, dying of massive organ failure, and another one showed up dead over here. Yeah, we do know that there are plenty of Russian spooks that have hacked into, various things. They're showing up dead all over Russia. Perhaps that was the deal. We don't know.
I think we should assume that he's being blackmailed by Putin.
I do. Just his behavior. Our closest allies who went to war with us, literally put their lives on the line. Britain, the UK, Australia. They fought in Afghanistan with us. They fought in Iraq with us. He's insulting every single ally we have in this world. Why would he want to rip Europe apart? Why would he want, instead of, Germany following us, or, Britain, our special relationship, or Australia that helps us in the South China Sea area? Why would he want to piss off all these people and leave them, just floating around outside? Unless he's disbanding NATO on behalf of Putin.
I don't know, Randy. I just think things are going to get really, really bad.
Of course.
And we should have an impeachment plan.
I have an impeachment plan.
Of some sort.
Well, we do, and we have to win back Congress first. Or, just start calling.
The Randy Rhodes Air Force. The Randy Rhodes Show is live on randyrhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or progressivevoices.com now.
We did it, you bastards! We're live, and it only took 2 years. Okay. All right. So we're back, we're live, and you're there, and we're here, and ain't that great? Now let me just tell you that if you want to listen whenever and wherever you'd like to listen, just go to randyrhodes.com, click on podcasts and swag, and get your podcast commercial-free, on demand, on any device. randyrhodes.com. Open all day, every day.
Here's what's happening on the Leslie Marshall Show on the Progressive Voices Network.
Donald Trump's travel ban fundamentally changes our history, but is this a history that we want to be known for? Tweeting is not enough. Marching is not enough. Even calling me is not enough. You need to call your congressional members, because it would truly take an act of Congress to stop this. How will Congress respond? And in addition to that, you have got to vote in 2 years, folks. Don't let the anger and the pain that you feel today subside in the next 2 years, because that's what happens. We Democrats do that. We women do that. Millennials, you do that. African Americans, you do that. Hispanics, you do that. I'm sorry, I'm going to call you out. The numbers don't lie. We have got to be a force to be reckoned with. The only way we are going to be able to take our country back from this madman is to vote.
The Leslie Marshall Show, Monday to Friday on the Progressive Voices Network.
Now that Trump's on his way to the White House, how long do you think it's going to take him and his Wall Street cronies to completely wreck our economy? This Trump administration is greedy, full of avarice, and awful, and the damage they're going to do to the economy will become legend. They are going to make the financial crisis of 2008 look like a pool party. And once again, working class Americans, you're going to get soaked. And that's why now more than ever, it's time to diversify your investment portfolio. Gold's low correlation with stocks and bonds can help you in times of uncertainty. Just call my friends at ITM Trading today, get a free gold kit, and learn why gold survives every government, every currency, and every economic crisis. Call ITM Trading at 1-888-OWN-GOLD for guidance from their precious metals experts. They've helped tens of thousands of people navigate this market, and they have the best reputation in this industry. So call 1-888-OWN-GOLD, 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
All right, where are we going? All right, Shannon in Chicago.
Hey, Randy, long time, first time, and this is the right time, I think.
Thank you.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, I was going to start with Milo, the one that looks like the late 80s televangelist.
What exactly is his major malfunction? What is wrong with this kid?
I don't know, but as a gay guy, he looks like that douchey gay at the bar that doesn't want anybody to touch them.
Exactly.
But then ends up in a pile of his own sick by the morning. So
does that particular gay wear ass pants too?
Well, just for half the night.
I don't understand the outfit. I just don't for half the night. I just don't. I don't get the outfit at all. What is he trying to say?
Well, I don't know, but I wish he'd stop saying it, whatever it is. But I originally called about the churches, letting the churches become this kind of political arm. And at first I was kind of upset about that because I grew up in the Midwest, very Baptist mega church. And then I started thinking, it might not be bad. Wait till these mosques and the Buddhist temples start kind of, recruiting and and doing their own politics. And then we'll see, what they think about that. I mean, you should set up your own religion, kind of like John Oliver. I mean, I think you're a prophet anyway. So.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think just as this executive order, which can't stand up to constitutional muster, but this executive order with the banning of Muslims from it has an exception in there for Christians, and I have a funny feeling that they will exempt everyone else. Do you know what I mean? I mean, just to see if America is awake and to see if America's ready for fascism. I really think that.
Well, I don't know what the test would be, but I mean,
well, that would be a good one. That would be a good
Sunday school test. I mean, that would be maybe Old Testament. How many people got raped and how much wizardry and witchcraft is in the Bible compared to a Harry Potter book? I think there should be a test. I mean, somebody's got to get tested for something here.
Well, Thomas Jefferson took that test and passed it. He took out all the Harry Potter stuff and issued his own version of the Bible called the Thomas Jefferson Bible. It has no mysticism in it at all. It doesn't have any miracles. It doesn't have anything that's not, that's not man-made in his Bible. So it's interesting. They were Freemasons. I mean, Benjamin Franklin was a Freemason. George Washington was a Freemason. They weren't what Milo thinks they were. He really needs to go back to the UK and first of all buy some clothes here before he goes, because he can't possibly continue to wear grommets and rubber.
They need to ban him from Hot Topic and H&M. He needs to just stay at Old Navy or at Express, or even just Target might be a little bit fancy for him. But yes, I'd send him home for a whole pack of Syrians that could camp out in my house, Syrian refugees. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, people keep asking me, why don't I take in the refugees? Come on in. Come stay with us. I got two guest rooms. Yeah.
Right. It's as easy as going down to the Home Depot when you need somebody to help carry your stuff into the house and picking one up, I'm sure. Oh, God. The day after the election, I canceled my Facebook account because I couldn't stand to see how many people I thought that I liked that were actually lunatics. And aside from watching you on YouTube and listening to you, that's the only news I've been watching, so it's all been streaming.
Yeah, great. Good for you. Except, do read the newspapers, please.
Absolutely. And I've kind of taken your idea of just moving out of the country to heart. I mean, I'm thinking about moving someplace.
No.
Even safer, like Colombia.
No. Hashtag stay and fight. Hashtag stay and fight. Do not think about leaving. We all need to stay and fight. I'm sorry, but it's time to actually show up for our country. And a lot of people have always wanted to show up for their country, but they never knew how. Well, now it's really, it's self-evident that people have to go to the streets. People have to make signs. People have to march. People can't let Donald Trump, be in Mar-a-Lago peacefully. He's got to hear the screaming and the yelling outside. He's got to see the disapproval. In fact, the approval ratings came out for him today. They are so low. He's like below 33% approval. People are despising this presidency. I've never seen a presidency, I've never seen a guy get elected with such a low approval rating in the first place. He was the oldest president ever to be installed, and he was also the least popular president ever to be installed. And from there, it's only going down, 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 down the tubes. People are shocked by him, appalled by him, sickened by him, and now we have to make sure he sees those people, he hears those people. The man is up all night long. Twitler is what I call him. He's just up all night long. 6:30 this morning, he was tweeting to Iran, "I'm going to put sanctions on you." I mean, what kind of a moronic thing is this? You don't do, nuclear deals on Twitter. It's scaring people, frankly. So now we have to go to the streets with, our wit, our wisdom, our signs. We have to go and make a stink so that he feels this disapproval. He knows that people despise him. He must know. He has to feel it. Maybe he'll quit. He is a quitter,
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just need to mail everybody up there a little yoga mat and a Capri Sun and have them all take a nap. I don't know who can stay up as much as all of those people do, because they are just nuts.
They are nuts. They're having full psychotic breaks with reality, and it's probably because they don't sleep, because Twitler doesn't sleep. So if Twitler doesn't sleep, they're all up. Listen, at least Hitler used to sleep till noon, okay? This is, if we're going to have fascism, can we have somebody that sleeps in, please? Brother David.
The sun on the meadow is summery warm. The stag in the forest runs free. But gather together to greet the storm. Tomorrow belongs to me.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And you will atone.
Exactly, sister.
I know.
That song from, of course, Kendra Knibb's Cabaret and another national anthem from Sondheim and Weidman's Assassins have been bouncing back and forth my head these last 2 weeks, because they both, in their very specific musical theater ways, kind of are talking about where we're at. And I got to say, where we're at is where we never thought we'd be, and some of us saw it coming, but it's here. And the one thing, I'm getting this from so many people in my orbit who are just freaked and falling apart. Don't get me started about work. With the Affordable Care Act, they know it's off, but they're not zeroing in on the simplicities, and that is why it is invaluable that you're here, and it's invaluable that I'm here, and it's invaluable that all of capital U period, capital S period, us, be here and stay and fight and organize and everything you've been spitting up a spleen about since June. Because it really is that bad.
Yeah, and the real fact is there are more of us than there are of them. There's 3 million more that voted against him, let's just put it that way, than there are of the people who voted for him. So right there's 3 million more people. But beyond that, the election is over. And now we've had 2 weeks of this mass madness, and people are like, he's a maniac. We have to get him out of the White House. And frankly, he's old. I don't know, how. Right.
There could be that, right? And I mean, no malfeasance or malice when I say that. There's that.
There's that. And beyond that, there's also, there's people out there that could actually make him feel so bad about himself that he will quit.
Exactly. We are all in this together. Even those who don't get it, that they're still a part of the us that's together, and make a noise. Make a noise.
This is one United States. This is one country with one constitution. All we have right now is a bad man at the levers of power. And that's all that's happened here so far.
Precisely. It's a surreality TV show, and we still haven't gotten the payoff, and none of us really want to see what it's going to look like. But here's my one thing. The real Schickelgruber in this situation is, of course, Vlad the Impaler, Mr. Take the Ukraine. And the real P resident at the moment is the foul-fetid voice of Breitbart. He, whom I still refuse to name, is kind of like this made-up papier-mâché thing of, I don't know, Nixon's toenail clippings and Roy Cohn's hairballs. It's just so blatantly not. what it's acting like. And it's up to us to pull it out from under them. Hey, chat room, love you. Tell every 10 people you know that don't listen to go to the YouTube page and subscribe and like.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Hashtag stay and fight. Hashtag gorgeous girdles for everyone.
And also hashtag F17, February 17th.
Yes. Absolutely. That's a big one. Have you and Lala gone to see La La Land together yet?
No, but I'm sure,
I'm just thinking you maybe should. Come on. Her name's in the title.
Oh, Lala, my Lala. Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. There's a lot of contretemps in the neighborhood. Don't want to bore you here, but it's
okay. Never mind. Sorry. Rewinding that.
It's all health oriented. It's very, very dire. I must say, she's going through so much. I got to say, it just breaks my heart. And her husband is my bestest friend. I mean, her husband is like everything. Yeah, David. And he's very, very, very ill. No one knows, it's
Candle's lit, sister, always.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's funny that you talk about that, because the other thing that occurred to me this morning, you got, as I saw the parody on DeVos, I sent that to a bunch of people, including your and my beloved Carol Marie Troll. And she forgot, because she's had no sleep, and she forgot to give anything that was like, yay, this is funny, and went into a rant on DeVos, and I thought she was ranting against the video. And we had this like miniature Facebook message thing back where I didn't understand what she said, and then and back and forth, and then of course we're thick as thieves because I worship, as with you, the quicksand she walks on.
Yes.
One broke the mold coming out of it. But we really do have to come together.
I know.
Because we can, as you have said, as millions have said, as I say, as lots of people say, only be destroyed from within. And that's what the Anschluss upon us is counting on.
Yes, and people are using that word, Anschluss. I've read it in several, newspapers. I mean, the word is being used. It's being used by Paul Krugman. It's being used by, Elliot Cohn, of all people.
Oh, my God, right?
My God. What's his name? David Brooks. I mean, all these conservative writers, they're beside themselves with this man. It's they just think that he is so dangerous. And these were the people that signed the letters to begin with, saying that we should denounce not just his policies, but his temperament, because he's dangerous. He has no character. And these are conservatives. These are wild-eyed conservatives who I would never agree with on any policy position, from Obamacare to, lowering the age for Medicare to, to raising taxes on, giant corporations who manage.
They hitherto have followed the party line, and it's like, well, wait, this isn't even the party line anymore. Yeah,
they're freaking out. I mean, you gotta read their stuff. They're asking questions like, well, what is America supposed to do about him? They're warning political appointees who are thinking about serving the Trump administration to think again and to beware, because their quote is, "You will sell your soul to the devil." That is exactly what they said. They said it's an exercise in moral self-destruction. They said, the devil likes to take his payment on the installment plan. You will never recover your reputation, nor should you. This is what they're saying to staunch conservatives.
They're fellows. Yes, they're colleagues.
Oh, it's crazy.
My dear friend Holly Hughes kind of put it really well in a Crackbook post last week. She said, it is a dark day in America when Dick Cheney is suddenly the moral compass, because even he condemned the Muslim ban. And as for Milo, it is very clear that he and Kellyanne Conjob have the same stylist. They need to knock it off now.
It is terrible. I mean, you can have all the power in the world and still have zero taste.
Ding, 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 ding. Love you always.
You too. Thank you, David.
Mwah.
Brother David in Nebraska. Jennifer in Berkeley. Hi.
Oh, actually, I'm in Sacramento, but I went to the Berkeley protest.
Oh, I got it.
And my sign basically said that, is Milo compensating Trump's small hands? But but when I was there, it was peaceful, and I got there just before 6:30, and they basically announced that it was not going to happen, that they had canceled it. And it was like 15 minutes later that the bonfire started, and then the police said, okay, you need to disperse, and we'll give you 10 minutes. So we dispersed and went and ate. And after we ate, I was going back to my car, and then the parade of protesters were coming down Shattuck. So I started filming them, and I had my camera up, and all of a sudden these three people, it turned out to be 2 men and a woman, all in black clothes, black masks, black hoods, and they started hitting the shop window of the Sprint store to break the window.
Yeah, I saw that on the TV, yeah.
Yeah. So I turned my camera to them, and I stupidly said, hey, don't do that. Stop it. And so then they attacked me, and they grabbed my camera and destroyed it and ran off with it. Another person threw me into the door. It was a glass door, and I nearly put a dent in it. The glass was like in that crinkle, thank God for safety glass. But it was totally scary. But it was like they were the black KKK, because it turns out these people were all white. They're Caucasians in these black outfits. And
I know.
They're called the Black Bloc.
Some woman called me yesterday and told me that, and I got to say, for me, this kind of behavior is nothing that I've ever seen on the left, especially at Berkeley. Berkeley, the home, the original home of free speech and the free speech movement. I've never seen. I mean, Milo was invited by campus Republicans, and everybody that went there to let him know that they really, didn't like anything that he had to say. That he's, not only obnoxious, but he's evil and he's mean and he's twisted and he's, a vile and he hurts people and they were those guys in the balaclavas. They were acting just like Donald Trump supporters. I mean, the only place I've ever seen violence is at Trump rallies, and then Trump tried to say that it was Hillary was paying them or something. It turns out that, they did a sting and they found out that, oh no, it's the conservative movement that's paying people to be violent so that they could point at and say, see, look, they're violent. But it's always them. I mean, these people behave just like Trump did on the campaign trail. I'll get your legal fees. Punch him in the face. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, they look and behave just like Donald Trump, except with bricks in their hands. There's no difference. Yeah.
No, I felt like they were tools for Trump.
Right.
These people who were doing all that.
That's what I'm trying to explain. And last night, Robert Reich was on CNN. And Robert Reich, as you know, teaches at Berkeley. And,
right.
And he said he was there. And he said these people were not students, nor were they on the left side of the aisle. These people were looking and behaving like anarchists. And it just felt as if, that they were behaving the way Donald Trump would have wanted them to behave, to infiltrate the liberal movement, to infiltrate progressives, to infiltrate democratic uprisings, and people who are voicing their displeasure for this fascist dictator, and they're infiltrating us so that people could say, oh, see, you're a hypocrite. Look at the violence at your rally. But it's not our rally. It's your anarchists coming to our peaceful protest.
Exactly. I feel like they co-opted. They stole our protest.
Yes.
And I feel like Trump people encouraged this to make us look bad. So we're now not talking about how bad Milo is and his hate speech. We're talking about how we're bad.
Well, I'm not. I'm talking about Milo and his outfits.
RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randy Rhodes Show.
On the eve of the most important election of our time, bring your friends to an unprecedented event. The Sexy Liberal Tour goes coast to coast.
Give it up for yourselves, sexy liberals. God bless you. I'm gonna be
Monday, November 7th, just one night.
We've got to protect our phony baloney job, gentlemen.
The Sexy Liberal Comedy Tour comes to your town. It's a special get out.
Hello, Progressive Voices tune-in listeners. I'm Casey Hobbs.
And I'm Shane Mason, and we're the hosts of Nurse Talk Radio.
Here's what we're talking about this week. Did you know that 2 out of 3 people experience bullying at work, either directly or indirectly? Whether you work in the boardroom or the mailroom, at some point you will be a victim.
Why is this issue so important to you?
late in my career, I was targeted for blowing the whistle on a corrupt executive. The board of directors chose not to do anything about it because they were afraid of the executive. And so for 18 months, I went through sheer hell in terms of being targeted. My phones were hacked into, my emails were hacked into. I was blacklisted in the Canadian community, business community. Lost over 30 pounds, was laid up with shingles for a 6-month period. And I was living in self-pity for a while, and I wanted to rid myself of negative energy and focus on positive stuff. And that's really what gave rise to my work in this area.
I have been at the effect of bullying in the workplace, so I do understand where you're coming from. But what I want to read is from part 1 of your book, The Definition of a Bully, Trump. Perhaps the shortest chapter on record, but need I say more? All joking aside, this really is a living example of a bully, is it not?
It is a living example of a bully. And if you look at the characteristics of a bully or what bullies do, they are masters of manipulation, they're masters of deception, they're masters of deflection, and they're masters of deceit, and they're masters of denial. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, he is normalizing the abnormal.
Check out our show at nursetalksite.com and listen every Saturday and Sunday right here on Progressive Voices.
Tales of American Political History with Clinton Porter Hackney.
We've been covering the story of a father and son who both ran for president and lost. Both had been governors and both were Republicans. But 44 years can make a big difference in the electoral landscape. The father, George Romney, had lost primarily because he had failed to see the shifting electorate in the late 1960s when Southern white voters were beginning to vote in Republican primaries instead of Democratic primaries, and most of those would not vote for supporters of African American civil rights. But the son, Mitt, won his Republican primary decades later, working hard to secure his party's white conservative base. However, his accomplishment came just at the time attitudinal and demographic changes were shifting the electoral map again. And so the son, also not reading the tea leaves of his time, lost to the re-election of the first African-American president in American history. This is Clinton Porter Hackney at cphackney.com.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking, but no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/bloodpressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
The Randi Rhodes Show is brought to you by our partners at ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
All right, on my Facebook page and elsewhere, there are events that are up and coming. Tomorrow, if you are in the West Palm Beach general area, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and if you're willing to drive, there is a march to Mar-a-Lago tomorrow. 5 o'clock at 525 South Flagler Drive. And then the big day that I'm really, I'm hoping that this actually, catches fire. I'm hoping that this works. There's a general strike in this country against Donald Trump. What that means is if you can afford not to go to work, or if you won't get fired, if your boss is, of like mind, maybe you could even organize your office into, participating in this. On February 17th, people who can take off of work should take off of work. People who can't take off of work and participate in the strike in this way spend no money. Spend zero money. Our economic power is a huge power that we all control for our very own selves. And so that's the February 17th. So, the hashtag that I like is hashtag F17 for that. I will tell you that I had responses from 20,402 people that said that they were interested in participating in this general strike. And tomorrow's march, 1,715 locally say that they're interested in this. So those are two things that we can do. Don't think that it doesn't matter. It certainly, this man is so sensitive to bodies. He's so sensitive to polling and to approval ratings and to people who don't love him. It really sticks in his craw in a way that I've never seen a president in my life react to people. I mean, Obama lived through every single Tea Party protest. He's illegal. He's a Muslim. He's a secret. He's a Manchurian candidate. He's this, he's that. All because he gave health care to millions and tens of millions of people. All because he took away the ability for insurance companies to discriminate against you if you had a pre-existing condition. All because he said maternity is not a pre-existing condition, but insurance companies said it was. So that if you bought insurance and then found out you were pregnant, they said, oh, you were pregnant before you bought the policy. That was a pre-existing condition. We don't have to cover your pregnancy. Really? I thought they loved the fetus. We know they hate the child, but they loved the fetus. Here they don't want to even take care of the fetus. These people are bizarre. And their version of America is not America. It's another country. And if they want that so bad, let them go back to Europe and have their country. They keep on telling me this was founded on European, white men. Then go where the European white men are. Go be with your own. Benita in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, hi, Randy.
Hi.
First time, long time.
Hey.
I was calling because I love you, and I've been listening to you forever. And I also listen to the TYT show, and he's been promoting a new Democratic Party called the Democrat Justice Party.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking, what do you think about if we just all band together and just start a whole new party?
Yeah, we needed a whole new party. We need young people. We need people locally. We need people at the school board level, and we need people in state legislatures. We need people in, as sheriff and dog catcher and city council members. All those positions need to be filled, and they need to be filled with people who understand what progress is.
Yes, absolutely, and get rid of all those corporate Democrats, and maybe have Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, and just start brand new. And I know that I can't say his name. Cenk Uygur is really promoting this.
His name's Cenk. Cenk.
Yeah, Cenk Uygur. I know he's really promoting it, and so I just need to get together and talk to my friends, but I don't even know how we go about it.
Well, I could send an email over there and see what we can do to explain it to you and what he has in mind. I can do that.
Okay, that'd be awesome. 'Cause
Okay.
we do need to revamp and restart and start all over.
No doubt about it.
Okay, love you, Randy.
I love you too. Thank you. Jeff in Oak Park, Michigan.
Randy.
Yes.
Question for you.
All right.
So all these executive orders that Trump is furiously signing,
Mm-hmm.
how exactly do they get enforced? Who enforces these things? Because I'm just trying to calm myself down in the sense of, can they actually, Obama signed the closing of Gitmo as an executive order and it stayed open. So
No, he didn't. He didn't. No.
Oh, I thought he did.
No, you can't close Gitmo by executive order. It takes money.
I thought that was one of the first things he did.
You can't do anything involving money, with an executive order. So you can't close Gitmo by executive order because it would take money to move those prisoners to supermax prisons. So you couldn't close Gitmo by executive order. It's not that anybody defied him. And what happens with an executive order? Well, first, you're supposed to get the Office of Legal Counsel to tell you that it's constitutional. Apparently, he skips this, okay? There are so many legal scholars out there that said nobody who understands the Constitution looked over these executive orders. Maybe he found some friendly person at OLC to sign off, but they did not understand what their job was. Okay, so that's the first step. And then the second is he sends advice, to the different agencies that are affected. And he tells them that he has, removed this regulation, or he has suspended the Clean Water Act, which he did yesterday, and that they're not to enforce it anymore. And so the government agency that's responsible for enforcement of the regulation or of the order, like the Border Patrol or what do they call them? Customs and border agents at the airport, they get guidance, it's called. And the guidance says no green card holders are allowed into the country. And they just do whatever comes from down on high.
So what about the whole possible, religious thing that he was doing this one? Like, that seems like it's so broad. I mean, who does that even... I guess I'm trying to figure out as a gay man, I'm trying to, sort out what does this mean for me?
Well, that would be enforced by Treasury and Commerce, those departments, right? It might even have a Health and Human Services aspect to it. We don't know until we see how he crafts it and what guidance he sends about, how to enforce it.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Don't
worry. The fight continues.
Don't worry. This man will fail. He will fail because for all his shrewd tactics, his strategy is terrible and his goals are evil. That's why he will fail. Just remember I said that. He will fail. Damage will be done. Prepare yourself. It's going to be a lot of weeping. It's going to be a lot of oppression. It's going to be a lot of things that you don't recognize as American things. But he will fail. Have a good weekend. Go to RandyRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.